Hey everyone, this is ThatBe. It has been quite a while since I have posted a video. So on this video, I thought I would answer some of the questions that y'all have been asking. So for the first two questions, I will start with our very general questions, and then I will get into a couple of case questions. So the first question is, are you a full-time student? No, I am not a full-time student. I am a regular adult with a regular career. How did you and your boyfriend meet? Such a weird question, but we live in New York City. We met on Tinder. We met in Central Park late at night, like around 8 o'clock. At a restaurant called, what was the restaurant called?
Steak and Shake.
It was not called Steak and Shake. It was called Shake Shack. And we've been together for 3 years. All right. Oh, and the other question that went with that was, how did you know you two fell in love? It kind of just happened. Okay, now on to the case questions. Do you think, or what do you think of Inkay's, or what some people call North Korea's involvement in the case? When I first started looking into the case, I thought that Inkay had some type of involvement or had awareness of maybe the actions that Chris Watts was going to, of what he was going to do. Looking back on it, a month from the case, or a couple months from the case, I still feel a little bit suspicious of her just because of when she started to delete her text messages and delete her Facebook and Instagram at the same time that Chris started to delete text messages and remove his Facebook account. But at the same time, I think, well, it seemed like her main concern was her job and making sure that her work didn't find out about the relationship. So I'm still kind of up in the air about whether or not she was involved in some kind of way. I don't think she was directly involved. I do think that she knew that Shanann was pregnant. I think that's pretty obvious. Do you think that Inkay is a psychopath? I don't think that she's a psychopath. I don't think that she's a psychopath. But she kind of reminds me of that girl that was in that case. She just had a trial, or she just was sentenced to 7 years or 12 years, I can't remember, in prison for having that friend who she encouraged to commit suicide, and she just sat and egged him on until he actually did it. She kind of gives me that kind of vibe. So I guess kind of yes and no. Have you seen the Shadows video? I've been avoiding this question for quite some time. Yes, I've seen the Shadows video. But anybody who is on YouTube, they, or at least in my thinking, they are not professional detectives. Okay, we're all some way or another an armchair detective, and it's very important that you, or anybody who's watching a YouTube video, understands that it's important to have some type of logical reasoning when watching these videos, especially when you're making your own conclusions. I've seen it. I was shocked the first time I watched it, and then I watched it again. And then I started thinking about the Kenneka Jenkins case, how I was wrapped up in it, and how so many people were posting videos of her walking through the hotel and going through the kitchen. And then all of a sudden videos started popping up with people seeing shadows in the kitchen. And then all of a sudden people were using different filters to try to grab images and manipulating stuff. So yes, I saw it. I don't know whether or not to believe it. I feel like the experts, the FBI, or whoever else was looking at the case would have made mention of it somewhere in the case file or would have spotted it. So I can't put too much into it. Do you think Chris's parents are crazy? I don't think that his parents are crazy. I think that their home life was very structured in a way where everyone was very close to one another, at least Chris and his parents. And I feel like his parents probably relied too much or were very dependent on him, at least his physical presence in the house. I found it so weird that whenever he left, that the dad would go into or fall into addiction. So there was a lot of dependency between each one of them on each other. Another question I had is, wouldn't you argue or wouldn't you assume that Shanann would have checked on the girls first? On a normal day, I think she probably would have, but when you think about her being sick before getting on the plane and then being exhausted and then dealing with emotional stress between her and Chris, arriving home late like that, I don't think that she probably, in my thinking, she probably would not have, because they would have been asleep and she would have been exhausted and not physically feeling well. I don't know. Do you think that Chris Watts was planning to blow up Survey 319? No, I don't think he was planning on blowing up Survey 319. I know that he brought the gas cans. I think that his ultimate plan probably was to burn the body, but he just didn't have enough time. He was constantly checking up on his coworkers to see what time they would be there. I think it would have drawn too much attention, especially at an oil site. So no, I don't think that he would have blown up Survey 319. Looks nice.
Yeah.
So those are the questions that I either received on the community page or I saw within the discussion that I felt like I could talk a little bit more about. I want to say thank you though for those of you who wished me a happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you had a really good Valentine's Day, and I will try to post more often because I've gotten a lot of requests to post more, as well as requests to do a story time video. All right, I'll see you soon.